Watch. Black girl hides her old dress. Until a billionaire reveals a shocking truth at midnight. The clock struck 12, echoing through the stillness like a gunshot. The moonlight spilled into the dusty attic of an old house, revealing a forgotten treasure, a shimmering red dress, frayed at the edges yet still radiating a kind of beauty that could stop hearts. A soft rasping breath broke the silence, and there she stood, Zara, a girl just on the cusp of womanhood, clutching the old fabric like it was the last remnant of her childhood. Rumors swirled around the dress, tales of lost fortunes, and buried secrets through whispered conversations at school. But there she was, alone, her heart racing as she glanced out into the darkness, feeling eyes watching her. Every inch of the attic was steeped in mystery. The old wooden beams cast long shadows, and the air was heavy with dust and secrets. Old trunks were stacked haphazardly, some locked tight, their contents a mystery waiting to be unearthed. It was said that the previous owner had once been a millionaire recluse who vanished without a trace, leaving behind a chilling enigma that haunted the town. Zara's fingers trembled as she ran them over the fabric, her mind swirling with possibilities. What if the dress was linked to that mysterious fortune? What if she could suddenly— A noise echoed behind her, a faint creak that sent a jolt of shock through her. She turned sharply, the dress slipping slightly from her grasp. There was no one. Just the dark shadows shifting and twisting, playing tricks on her mind. But deep down, she felt it, a gripping sense of dread mixed with curiosity. She had to know more. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Zara closed her eyes, heart hammering. What if the secrets of the old dress could somehow unlock the mysteries of her own life? Then she heard a whisper, smooth, like silk and gravel combined, floating through the air. A voice. Familiar. Insistent. You need to come downstairs now. The command sent a shiver down her spine. Who was it? The hairs on her neck stood up, prickling with a mix of fear and intrigue. Was it a ghost? Or something much worse? Zara's mind raced, visions of fiery sunsets and hidden treasures swirling in her head. She couldn't back down now. Midnight was only the beginning. What awaited her downstairs? Zara gripped the dress tighter, the fabric cool against her skin, as she hesitated. What on earth awaited her downstairs? The chilling voice echoed in her mind, and with a sudden rush of adrenaline, she took a deep breath and stepped toward the attic stairs. Each creak of the wooden steps seemed to protest her descent, the dark corners of the house full of unwelcoming shadows. When she reached the bottom, the peculiar stillness surrounded her like a thick fog. The house felt alive with energy, each tick of the clock stretching the tension taut. As she entered the dimly lit hallway, her heart raced. She could hear the faint sound of her own breathing against the backdrop of something deeper, a whispering wind that hummed through the empty house. Zara, the voice called again, softer yet more compelling. She froze, her instincts screaming at her to retreat, but her curiosity propelled her forward. Who was speaking to her? What did they want? Her flip-flops patted softly against the floor as she followed the whispers down to the living room, where moonlight crept through the dusty windows, revealing the outlines of forgotten furniture and cobweb-covered memories. The shadows danced like phantoms as she stepped in, scanning the room for any sign of life, a flutter, a silhouette, anything. Zara, the voice urged once more, now coming from the large antique mirror hanging on the wall. The glass shimmered in the dark, transforming the ordinary into something otherworldly. Zara's heart raced. Was she really hearing things? Or was there something magical happening here? As she approached the mirror, it felt like the air around her had thickened. You have to see the voice intertwined with an unexpected flicker of light that shot across the surface of the glass. See what? Zara whispered into the night, the urgency in her tone betraying her growing fear. But as she leaned closer, she saw images flash across the mirror, each one more bewildering than the last. A party, laughter, the red dress twirling among a crowd of faceless partygoers, followed by a series of tumultuous events. A sudden crash, a scream, a figure darting from the scene, the dress trailing behind like a wisp of smoke. "Stop!" Zara gasped, pulling back. The mirror rippled like water disturbed by sudden movement, sending her heart into a frenzy. What had she just witnessed? It was like a page ripped from someone's past, a life she had no understanding of. "Come closer." The voice was firm now, yet soothing, compelling her to approach once more. With every step, an electric charge pulsed through the air, stirring the memories locked within her own heart. Bits of her childhood flashed before her like old film reels playing out unceremoniously, memories she thought she had buried, her father's laughter, her mother's pride, the day they lost everything, a spark that ignited the fire inside her to search for the truth. What if this dress was a bridge to uncovering her family's forgotten story? To understand her place in a world that often told her she didn't belong? Panic surged through her veins when a loud crash erupted from another room. Zara's breath hitched as she spun toward the sound, the mirror momentarily forgotten. What was that? Her heart raced, and without a second thought, she darted toward the noise, propelled by an urge deeper than fear, an insatiable need for answers. But as she neared the source, a shadow flitted across the corner of her eye. Someone was here with her. Someone she couldn't see. What was hidden in the depths of this old house? And who would she encounter when she faced it? The moment had come to confront the unknown. The sound echoed again, a violent crash followed by an eerie silence, sending shivers down Zara's spine. Her heart hammered against her chest, a frantic reminder that she was alone, or at least she thought she was. Was it really just the house settling, or was something more sinister lurking in the shadows? With every hesitant step she took, the darkness wrapped around her like an unwanted cloak, pulling her further into a world where the line between reality and nightmare blurred. She took a deep breath, summoning fragmented courage, and edged closer to the door leading to the kitchen. "Is anyone there?" Her voice trembled, cutting through the heavy silence. No reply. Taking a deep breath, Zara pushed the door open, its hinges creaking like an old man's groan. The dim light from the living room barely illuminated the space, revealing overturned chairs and shattered glass. Her pulse quickened. What had happened here? It was then she heard it, a faint rustling noise, coming from the pantry. Her stomach twisted into knots, a wild dance of trepidation and curiosity. She stepped forward, every footfall fraught with anxiety. "Show yourself," she shouted, half hoping for an answer, half wanting to scare away whatever might be hiding. In response, the noise escalated, and before she could react, the pantry door swung wide open. It stood there ajar, lopsided, inviting and yet foreboding. Zara's breath caught as a shadow retreated back into the darkness of the pantry. She squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of whatever or whoever was hiding. "I'm not afraid of you," she declared, though her voice wavered. But the sound ceased. Only her ragged breaths filled the silence, urging her to walk away. Instead, curiosity gripped her. She could almost feel the pull of the mirror behind her. Had it been showing her this moment too? Was there a reason for this reckoning? With a sudden burst of determination, she stepped into the pantry. It was cramped and reeked of must and decay, the shelves lined with age-old, dust-covered jars. Then, a figure burst forth, knocking over several jars in the process. "Zara!" A familiar voice cut through the tension, filled with urgency. Bria? Zara's heart sank and soared all at once. Why was her childhood friend hiding in her family's pantry? Please! We don't have much time. Bria's eyes were wide with fear, as if she had seen a ghost or worse. What are you doing here? Zara asked, bewildered. You need to tell me what is going on. I heard a crash not here. Bria tugged at Zara's arm, pulling her closer. It's not safe. Come with me. Panic surged through Zara. She wanted answers, but her instincts screamed for her to escape. What about the mirror? Did you see what I saw? I don't know what you saw, but whatever you think is happening is far worse. A loud thud echoed from the living room, shaking the walls, sending shards of glass clattering on the floor. It was a sound that ignited a primal fear deep within Zara. Go! Bria urged, pulling Zara further into the depths of the pantry, where it was darker than all the fears that had ever haunted her. The truth is scarier than you know. Before Zara could respond, the door slammed shut behind them, plunging them into darkness, leaving only their rapid breaths as a reminder of their shared terror. What awaited them in that darkness? And what truth was Bria hiding that could shatter Zara's world even more? The overwhelmed questions raced through her mind as the heavy silence wrapped around them like a shroud, tightening with every passing second. The night was far from over, and the pieces of the puzzle were starting to connect, but not in the way Zara ever imagined. The darkness was thick, almost tangible. Zara felt it pressing against her, a force that made her skin crawl. Beside her, Bria's grip tightened like a vice. It was a familiar squeeze from childhood, one that promised safety, but this was no playground, and secrets loomed large. What do you mean? The truth is scarier than you know. Zara whispered, her voice barely escaping her throat. Time seemed to stretch, the seconds elongated by dread, pressing at her chest like a weight she couldn't shake off. Bria hesitated, her eyes darting toward the door, as if she expected something to burst through the wood at any moment. They're after you, Zara. We need to find a way out. Who is after me? Zara felt her heart racing faster. The urgency in Bria's voice made her skin prickle with a mix of fear and confusion. The people from the Bria stopped abruptly. The weight of her secret hung heavily in the air between them, thick with unspoken words. It doesn't matter right now. We just have to move. The pantry felt like a tomb, and the oppressive air made it hard to breathe. Zara's mind raced. What was happening? She thought she had come back to this house for some peace, to escape the chaos of the world outside. Instead, she was now tangled in a web of shadows and fear. Wait, Zara started, squeezing Bria's arm, needing reassurance. You can trust me. Just tell me what is going on. A crash sounded again from the living room, louder this time, shaking the pantry door. It rattled in its frame, and Zara's heart jumped to her throat. They weren't alone. Whatever had made that noise was close enough to be breathing in the same air. Bria's face turned pale, as larger shadows danced behind the pantry door. We don't have time, she shrieked, her voice rising in panic. That was when Zara felt a cold breeze that swept through the cramped space, whispering secrets only it could hold. It slipped through the cracks, chilling her to the bone. She didn't want to imagine what was waiting for them, but the drawing sensation of the mirror, calling her, resonated louder now. Bria, we can't hide forever, Zara exclaimed, desperation creeping into her voice. What if I want answers? What if I want to know why? Because knowing puts you in danger. Bria shot back, her voice trembling. Zara felt her resolve harden. They couldn't just hide in the dark. If something sinister prowled beyond that door, she needed to confront it. We can't just run and hide. We're stronger than this. But was it true? Her courage faltered as doubt crept in, wrapping around her like the darkness itself. Okay, Bria said, her voice dropping to a whisper. But you must trust me. If we're going out, we go together, no matter what happens." Before Zara could respond, another thud echoed from the living room, and something crashed heavily against a wall. The house shook violently as if it were itself trying to shake off a terrible presence. "Now!" Bria urged, launching herself toward the door, pulling it open with a burst of strength. Light spilled in from the living room, illuminating their escape, but casting long shadows across the floor. Zara felt a rush of adrenaline. What lay ahead? She stepped into the flickering light, heart pounding, trusting Bria would lead them to safety. But as they crossed the threshold, a chilling voice echoed through the house, freezing them in place. "Where do you think you're going?" It was low, menacing, and unmistakably human. Zara and Bria exchanged wide eyes as they stood in the doorway, caught between the light and the dark. What had they awakened with their search for truth? The night was far from over, and the real horror was just beginning. The voice slithered through the air, wrapping around Zara and Bria like a suffocating fog. Their breaths caught in their throats, and the tension grew thicker, almost unbearable. The flickering shadows danced nervously around them, as the weight of the unseen figure pressed in from all sides. Who are you?" Zara managed to whisper, her heart racing. Every instinct in her screamed to run back into the pantry, to hide and escape this looming presence, but Bria's grip anchored her in place. The figure stepped into the dim light, and Zara's breath hitched. It was a man, tall and angular, his features eerily calm. He wore a tailored suit that seemed out of place in the decaying home. His smile twisted her stomach, a mocking expression that suggested he relished this moment. "It's fascinating, isn't it? How easy it is to forget the past. And yet, here you are, standing at the threshold of everything you've tried to bury," he said, his voice a smooth syrup that dripped with malicious intent. Bria stepped forward, the fire of protectiveness sparking in her eyes. "You don't belong here. What do you want with Zara?" The man chuckled softly, a sound that made Zara's skin prickle. "Oh, I assure you, what I want doesn't matter. It's what holds her that counts." He glanced at Zara, and for a moment, she felt the urge to look away, unable to withstand the intensity of his gaze. "What do you know about her?" Bria demanded, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and anger. "Everything." The man smiled more widely, revealing too many teeth. But not nearly enough. He stepped closer, invading their personal space, and Zara caught a whiff of a pungent cologne, acrid and overwhelming. "In fact, the truth is still a few steps out of reach. And that, my dear Bria, is why I'm here." Zara shifted, feeling Bria's tension beside her. "The truth?" she echoed, her voice shaking. "What truth?" The smile vanished from the man's face, replaced by a glare that could slice through steel. "The truth about your mother. And the legacy she left behind." He leaned in closer, voice barely a whisper. "You are just a pawn in a much larger game. But don't worry, Zara. I'll make sure you play your part." Panic threatened to consume her. "What game?" "I don't want to play," Zara shouted. Her frustration spilled forth, igniting the fear of the unknown. But the man simply tilted his head, unbothered. "That's not your choice, love. Once you've seen the reality of your lineage, there's no turning back." He straightened up, readjusting his cuffs as he turned his back on them, the oppressive atmosphere lightening for a brief moment. "Stop!" Zara cried out, desperation clawing at her throat. "Don't you dare walk away from us." He halted at the threshold, facing the darkness behind him, his silhouette framed by the flickering light. "You'll find what you're looking for, I assure you eventually." Before they could react, he vanished into the shadows, leaving an eerie silence in his wake. The air felt heavy, charged with the remnants of his presence. "What just happened?" Bria whispered, her voice wavering. "I have no idea," Zara replied, her heartbeat thudding in her ears as she stepped further into the living room. "But I think we need to find that mirror now." The pulse of the darkness seemed to respond, almost alive, urging them forward. Like a call to destiny, they exchanged determined looks, fear still lingering but overshadowed by a flicker of bravery. As they took a step towards the origin of the sinister secrets that haunted Zara, the floorboards creaked ominously beneath them. Little did they know, the truth that awaited them was deeper and darker than they could imagine. "Are you ready?" Bria whispered, eyeing the path ahead with cautious apprehension. Zara nodded, dread coiling in her stomach. "As ready as I'll ever be." But what if the truth is worse than we think? That question hung in the air, taunting them. What could possibly lie ahead? And what would they learn when they finally confronted the past that refused to die? As they moved deeper into the heart of the house, an unsettling stillness enveloped them. The thick layer of dust danced in the fading light, and the walls seemed to close in around them, shadows flickering in the corners of their eyes. Zara felt an icy finger trace down her spine, triggering the instincts she'd buried all these years. "Did you hear that?" Bria stopped, head tilted as if she were trying to catch a whisper in the air. Zara strained to listen. A soft creaking echoed through the house. Was it just the old wood complaining, or something more sinister? "No. Let us keep going," Zara urged, trying to shake off the dread settling in her chest. The mirror was their only chance to make sense of what had just happened. She could feel it calling her, a silent partner in this twisted game. The living room opened into a narrow hallway. The walls were lined with faded photographs, the faces blurred and forgotten. They peered closer, drawn to them. Each photograph depicted a woman, a family that looked hauntingly familiar. Zara squinted at one, the resemblance chilling her to the bone. Was that her mother? "Bria, look at this," she breathed, pointing. But when Bria leaned in, the moment shattered. The glassy eyes in the picture seemed to flicker, almost alive. A burst of wind swept through the corridor, startling them both. "No! Let us go!" Bria jerked away, her voice rising in panic. "This place is wrong." Zara's pulse quickened. "We can't give up. We need to see if the mirror holds any clues." She took a deep breath, steeling herself against the fear clawing at her mind. As they pressed on, the shadows crept closer, their forms twisting as if they were trying to merge with the walls. The exit seemed further with each step, the darkness now crawling at their heels. Then, a door appeared at the end of the hall, slightly ajar. A ribbon of light slipped out, beckoning them. "Do you see that?" Zara whispered. Bria nodded, eyes wide. They approached slowly, the floor creaking ominously under their weight. With trembling fingers, Zara pushed the door open. Inside was a dimly lit room, the air thick with age and secrets. A massive ornate mirror hung on the wall, its surface foggy and clouded. As they stepped across the threshold, faint memories flooded Zara's mind, flashes of laughter, then screams. She staggered back, gripping the doorframe. "Zara! Are you okay?" "I don't know," she responded, the mirror's surface swirling as if it were alive, echoing the haunting past she'd tried to forget. "But I think it's trying to show me something." Before she could think, Bria reached toward the mirror, her hand trembling. "Maybe it can tell us what he meant." "About your mother, your legacy, don't," Zara shouted, grabbing Bria's wrist. The reflection twisted, revealing a dark figure that blurred just behind them. An echoing laugh filled the room, deep and mocking. The laughter swallowed the space around them, thrumming in Zara's chest. On instinct, she turned, but nothing was behind them, only an empty hallway stretching into the darkness. "Zara!" Bria's voice faded into a whisper. "What if it's already too late?" The mirror glimmered ominously, a world of shadows waiting within. An urge wrapped around Zara, compelling her to look again, to peer closer into the abyss of reflection. Then, a soft voice echoed from the mirror's depths, chilling her to the bone. Are you ready to uncover the truth, Zara? What truth? Her own voice felt foreign, splintered by fear. With that, the mirror rippled, and an image took shape, a woman trapped within, tears flowing down her cheeks. Zara's heart thundered in her ears. Could that woman be her mother? No! Bria yelled, pulling Zara back. We need to get out. Now! But Zara stood frozen, caught in the pull. The shadows stretched and twisted around them as she stepped closer to the mirror, the voice in her head still whispering, taunting. Will you break the cycle, or will the past claim you too? And just like that, the room dimmed further, the edges of reality blurring. Everything in Zara urged her forward, but a pang of instinct told her to flee before it was too late. What could they discover next? As the mirror glimmered ominously, a new question hung in the air, chilling. What if the woman trapped inside sought to escape, and what price would Zara pay to learn the truth? Zara blinked, the world around her fading and reshaping. The mirror's voice still echoed in her mind, pulling her in deeper. She could feel the haze thickening, and for a moment, she thought she could almost reach through. The shimmering surface pulsed like a heartbeat. Bria's anxious breaths cut through Zara's trance. Zara! Don't let it take you. Bria's voice sliced through the oppressive air, and the urgency in her tone jolted Zara back to reality. She staggered back, heart racing. The mirrored surface warped, the woman's face shifting into a mask of anguish. Could it really be her mother? The thought sent a cold wave through her. What if she is trapped? Zara whispered, glancing back at Bria. The fear in her friend's eyes was unmistakable. Zara, we have to go. This isn't right. Bria trembled, gripping Zara's arm tight. The way the shadows writhed against the wall made everything feel alive, as if the house itself were a predator watching them. But looking back at the mirror, Zara couldn't shake the feeling that she was inches away from the truth she'd been seeking for so long. What if there's a way to help her? The words slipped out before she could stop them. A distant, sorrowful wail echoed from the mirror, wrapping around them like icy fingers. Bria flinched beside her, eyes darting toward the door that felt miles away. We don't know what it wants. The woman's tears morphed into a river of darkness against the surface, and Zara stepped closer, as if the mirror had its own gravity pulling her in. What if she could hear her mother's voice? Just one word, one whisper would change everything. The thought burned in her chest. Zara! Bria's shout was desperate, but it barely registered. Zara reached toward the mirror, resisting the urge to pull back. Don't! Bria pleaded. You need to listen. Suddenly, the laughter erupted from the mirror again, louder and more sinister. It seemed to reverberate off the very walls, a mocking reminder of the horrors that lurked in that house. The dark figure behind him returned, and this time it was clearer, more defined, a tall shadow, contorted but unmistakably menacing. Its eyes glowed, fixated on Zara. Panic surged in her veins. Bria, we have to leave. She finally gasped, torn between the mirror's seductive pull and the threat looming behind them. The shadows blurred around them like angry bees, buzzing with rage, but the door felt impossibly far. It's not safe. It wants something from you, Zara. Bria shouted, inching toward the exit, her eyes darting nervously. Zara turned back to the mirror, the cantankerous figure shrinking and expanding like some grotesque breath. The truth, she murmured, still entranced. I need to know the truth. With an adrenaline-fueled surge, she reached out, fingertips brushing against the mirrored surface. A jolt of electricity shot up her arm, and suddenly, images whirled around her, a family in the house, laughter, warmth, and then a flash of darkness. Screams. Shadows emerging from the corners, consuming what was once happiness. No, no! Bria screamed, tugging at her arm, but Zara couldn't pull away. The glass rippled again. Zara! The dark figure gurgled, its twisted face now inches away from hers. It contorted, mouth opening in an eternal scream that never sounded. Zara's heart raced as the echo of anguish resonated in her soul. I can't, I have to know. In that moment, everything shifted, the world dimmed, and she felt herself slipping through the mirror's surface, enveloped in a suffocating silence where shadows danced at the edges, whispering secrets she was too ready to hear. Zara, no! Bria's voice cried out, but the sound faded into the shadows. The darkness swallowed her whole, and she felt herself falling. Then, suddenly, there was light. A different room flashed by, filled with familiar faces, friends, family, all laughing. Yet, the dark figure loomed just beyond the edges. What did it want? As the truth teetered on the edge of her consciousness, Zara felt a deeper chill grip her heart. Was she ready to face the darkness that lurked just outside her grasp? And then it hit her, a vision of her mother, hand outstretched, caught in a whirlpool of darkness. Help me, she whispered, the weight of her voice pulling Zara closer into the unknown. The mirror didn't just reflect, it demanded. And as Zara prepared to leap into the darkest depths of her past, a chilling thought filled her with dread. What if breaking the cycle meant embracing the very monster that haunted her family? Zara felt a sharp lurch, as if the ground beneath her had vanished. She stumbled forward, falling into disorienting brightness. Her heart slammed against her ribs, like a wild animal trying to escape. The colors around her swirled, blues and greens blurring into a sickly yellow. Zara! Bria's distant voice echoed, like the fading sound of a bell. But the laughter, that terrible laughter from the mirror, hung in the air, driving a dagger into Zara's already fraying sanity. When she landed with a thud on the hard, cold floor, the air was thick and heavy, a stifling weight on her chest. She blinked furiously, trying to piece together where she was. The room loomed around her, familiar yet eerily different. Old family photos lined the walls, her mom smiling, beaming. A flash of warmth momentarily dulled the chill in her spine. But then she caught sight of the shadow, lurking just out of reach, watching her with glowing eyes. Zara's breath hitched. She sprang to her feet, nails digging into the edge of a worn table for support. "Mom?" she whispered, voice trembling. No answer. The laughter crept back in, weaving through her thoughts. "Help me," from somewhere deep within the shadows. That pleading voice resonated again. It was not just her mother's cry, it was a chorus of all those who had been trapped, voices layering upon one another in an ugly harmony. "Zara!" Bria shouted again, and suddenly she was there, the distant glow of hope. What happened? Where are we? Her eyes darted across the room, as if searching for a way out. "I don't know. It's like we're inside the mirror." Zara struggled to articulate, the terror clawing at her throat. "Bria, I saw her." "My mom?" she asked. The shadow lurched forward suddenly and Zara froze. The figure became clearer, more grotesque. It twisted and spiraled, its face contorted in a masquerade of malice, the clear image of all the fear and sorrow associated with her family. "Zara," it rasped, the words slithering into her ears. "Embrace the truth." "No." Zara stumbled back, pulling Bria with her. "We can't. This isn't right." The sweat gathered on her palms, as she felt the walls of the room close in on them. "Where do we go?" Bria's voice quivered as she gripped Zara's arm tightly. Zara's gaze flitted to the photographs, recognizing the patterns. Each one held a secret, layers of joy intertwined with despair. "We need to uncover it. We're not going to lose her again. I can't lose her again." With a sudden resolve, she moved towards the wall. The earlier warmth from the pictures filled her anew, but it was overshadowed by the growing dread that just beyond the smiles, the darkness waited. Zara pressed her fingers against a photograph, not just any photo, but the one where her mother held a golden necklace, a shining pendant shaped like a mirror. "Maybe," Zara gasped, Maybe this is the key. If I can find the pendant, then maybe, just maybe, I can free her. A wave of energy surged within her, and she felt an aching connection to the past, one woven from loss and yearning. Zara, be careful. Bria's warning barely registered. Zara's heart raced in time with the dark figure. Shadows swirled, growling like angry beasts, warning her to stay back, stay away. But her mother's voice, weak but powerful, pushed her onward. As she reached out, the shadow lunged, a clawed hand stretching through the gloom. The room trembled, and she could hear the whispers climbing to a fever pitch. Let her go! Let us free! The voices cried, a swelling tide of anguish competing with a single, haunting plea for help. Zara's breath hitched as she snatched the pendant, feeling its cold surface pulse against her fingers. In that moment, time stretched. The world held its breath. This was it. "Mom, I'm coming!" she shouted, and the darkness closed in around her, as the shock of her resolve ignited a flicker of hope amidst the chaos. But would it be enough? The air around her quaked, and with one last desperate look at Bria, she dove forward to confront the monster and perhaps discover the truth she needed to unleash her mother from the shadows. Was she ready for what lay ahead? The weight of the darkness pressed against Zara, but she clutched the pendant tighter, its chill anchoring her to reality. "Mom!" she screamed again, feeling the tremors of fear coursing through her veins. The shadow recoiled, momentarily stunned by her declaration. It hesitated, eyes flickering, as if processing the flood of emotion that surged through Zara's voice. "Embrace the truth," it repeated, but now there was uncertainty in its tone, a twinge of something deeper beneath the malice. "Let her go," Bria echoed, her own voice trembling but determined. "She is not yours to claim." Around them, the air thickened with whispers, longing, anger, desperate cries for release. Zara felt the pull of the pendant, a magnetic force urging her to step closer to the shadow, to unravel the darkness that had plagued her family. "I won't let you take her from me again," she declared, summoning every ounce of bravery she had. With a sudden burst, the pendant glowed brighter, its light slicing through the gloom, illuminating the room like a beacon. The shadow shrank back, hissing, its grotesque features warping into anguished expressions. "You don't understand," it rasped. "The truth brings pain." "I'm ready for the truth," Zara shouted, even as her heart raced. This was it, the moment of choice. She refused to back down. The room trembled as the pendant's light intensified. Images swirled like a film reel, fragments of laughter, moments of horror, snapshots of her mother caught in joyful embraces, then caught in tears. Each photo burned with a vibrant clarity, drawing Zara deeper into the family's tangled web of secrets. "Zara!" Bria's voice quivered, the fight in her eyes matching Zara's. "What are you seeing?" "Everything, the good, the bad. It's all connected." Zara's gaze locked onto the spinning images, memories alive and pulsating in the air. "It's not just losing her, it's about finding her again." As the light engulfed them, the shadow lurched wildly, clawed hands grasping at the brightness. "You cannot change what is. You cannot save her," it roared, collapsing under the swell of memories. But Zara felt a flicker of resolve sparking deep within her. "I must try," she shouted, recalling her mother's smile and the warmth of her embrace. The shimmering light from the pendant waxed and waned, illuminating one last image, a flicker of her mother holding the necklace, pointing to something hidden beneath a cracked floorboard. A gasp caught in Zara's throat. "Mom has been trying to tell me," she whispered, eyes wide with realization. With that, the darkness swelled again, swirling ominously. The shadow writhed, its laughter turning into a chorus of tortured cries. "You think you can unlock the past? You'll only unleash more horror." Before Zara could respond, the room convulsed, the one solid floor splintering beneath her. Fear wrapped around her like barbed wire, tightening its grip. But the truth had set fire to her soul. She could feel it. They were on the verge of something monumental. "Where is it?" she yelled as the shadows hissed, warping the air around them. "Foolish girl, it's buried where you dare not tread." The shadow shrieked, its voice rising to a cacophony of terror. Zara felt the world tipping, the ground beneath her splintering as memories clashed and danced violently around her. "We have to go," she urged Bria, adrenaline pounding through her. "Where?" Bria shouted, panic creeping into her voice. "To uncover what was hidden together." Zara pulled on Bria's arm, as the cavern of darkness threatened to consume them both. Through the chaos, a pathway appeared, a flickering trail of light leading deeper into the shadowy maw. They exchanged a final glance, fear and determination melding in the air between them. "On 3, Zara said, the weight of the pendant suddenly feeling like a lifeline. 1, 2, but before she could say 3, the darkness erupted, swallowing the last vestiges of hope, pulling them into the unknown. What lay ahead could either bind them together or tear them apart. Would the truth bring salvation or doom? The moment had come. Was the price of discovery worth the pain yet to unfold? The shadows parted like a veil, revealing a hidden chamber bathed in a dim, flickering light. Zara's heart raced as she stepped inside, clutching the glowing pendant like a shield. The room was small, surrounded by stone walls that seemed to breathe around them. Dust particles danced wildly in the eerie glow, creating the illusion of 1,000 memories swirling around. "Where are we?" Bria breathed, her eyes scanning the unfamiliar space. Zara could barely speak. "I think this is where she has been trying to lead us." A low rumble echoed from the depths of the chamber, sending a shiver down their spines. "What was that?" Bria whispered, gripping Zara's arm tighter. "I don't know. But we have to find it," Zara insisted, looking toward a cracked floorboard that beckoned like a siren's song. The pendant pulsed gently in her grasp, aligning with the quiet ache in her chest. As they approached, the air thickened, a pressure weighing down around them. Zara knelt, heart pounding in rhythm with the glowing pendant, and reached for the floorboard. Her fingers dug into the cracks, splinters biting into her skin as she pried it open. "Zara, be careful," Bria whispered, glancing nervously over her shoulder. The floor creaked in protest, and with one final tug, the board gave way, revealing a small leather-bound box nestled in the darkness below. Zara gasped, pulling it out and hugging it to her chest like a long-lost treasure. "This must be it. What is inside?" Bria asked, her voice laced with anticipation. Zara opened the box, and a wave of light poured out, enveloping them in warmth. Inside lay a delicate gold necklace, shimmering with the same mirror-shaped pendant as the one she held. "It's just like mine, but something was different." This pendant felt alive, humming softly, waiting to react. Suddenly, the shadow surged forward, its glowing eyes fixed intently on the box. "You think that will save her?" it hissed, voice dripping with venomous mockery. "It's too late for her. You cannot change the inevitable." Zara felt a surge of power. The truth had come woven in despair, but it was also filled with a flicker of hope. "No!" she shouted, voice steady, as she clutched both pendants tight. "We will change it. We've come too far to turn back now." With a determined breath, Zara clasped the necklace around her neck, feeling its warmth meld with the other pendant. The light ignited, illuminating the chamber, pushing the shadow back. "You lie!" she yelled, locking eyes with the creature, which twisted in agony, the anger spilling over its features. "You've hidden in the dark long enough. We will break this cycle." "Foolish child." The shadow spat, its form writhing, twist and turn like smoke. "You cannot handle the truth. The past will consume you." But before it could spring forth, the light enveloped Zara and Bria in a cocoon of shimmering brilliance. Whispers cascaded around them, echoing fragmented memories and voices of the past, slowly weaving the gruesome tapestry into a pattern of understanding. I see her, I see my mother. Suddenly, the shadows screamed, a cacophony of sound that pierced through the air, shaking the very foundation of the room. No! You have no right to claim what is lost. Zara stepped forward, anchored by the chorus of voices whispering her mother's name, urging her to move closer. Help me! She cried out into the abyss. Help me break this curse. In that moment, the pendant's glow intensified, sending a shockwave of energy through the very earth beneath them. Cracks of light pierced the darkness, and the shadow recoiled, its face contorting in rage as if the light burned it. You are only feeding the cycle. The shadow wailed, but Zara felt herself press on, emboldened. Bria stood firmly beside her, mirroring her resolve. You're wrong. We have the power to change it. As they reached the center, the swirling light began to condense, forming a luminous pathway shaped as a staircase spiraling upward, revealing a glimpse of the world above. This is it! Zara shouted, glancing at Bria with fierce determination. We can do this! Together! With hands clasped, they stepped onto the radiant steps, ascending higher and higher, the echoes of the past merging with the promise of the future. The shadow-esque screams echoed behind them, impotent against the rising tide of hope, and just as they reached the pinnacle, a final surge of energy struck through the void. The blinding light enveloped them completely, breaking the stranglehold of darkness, and with it came a profound calm as the house exhaled. They stumbled out into the hallway, finding themselves back in their familiar living room, the mirror still shining with remnants of their journey. Bria turned, breathless and overwhelmed. Did we do it? Zara's heart raced, tears streaming down her cheeks. She felt something shift. I think we did. I can feel her. She is free. As they took a moment to catch their breath, the weight of the burden began to lift. They had unveiled secrets, broken cycles, and uncovered a truth that had chased them through darkness. Then, from behind the mirror, a silhouette emerged, luminous and warm. It shimmered like starlight, the familiar form of her mother enveloping them in love. Zara, her mother's voice was soft, tender, wrapping around Zara like an embrace she had longed for. You found me. You freed me. With laughter and joy spilling over, Zara and Bria held on to that moment, forever transformed by the power of embracing the truth. Together, they stood against the dying echoes of darkness, ready to honor not just the past, but to forge a vibrant future. As the light began to recede, possibilities flared before them like fireworks. They had conquered fear and despair, proving that the light of courage could shine through even the darkest of nights. And in their hearts, they knew every step of the journey shaped who they were meant to be. Now, dear friends, if you've enjoyed this roller coaster of a story, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately, so you don't miss out on the next exclusive tales waiting just for you. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep this community alive. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. We want to hear what you think. Lastly, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how the story ends. Join us again next time, because every story deserves to be shared.